Good day, everybody. I am Todd Standing. I'm the man who takes people out in the wilderness and has them either live interact with or eyewitness a Sasquatch, and in some cases, photograph a Sasquatch. This is my friend and expeditioner, James. I'm out visiting him this fine day in northern British Columbia, way out in the middle of nowhere. He has a home here, and we've seen significant Sasquatch activity, trackways here, tree breaks pointed towards in the area of his home. Just a beautiful, beautiful area. Incredible Sasquatch out here. I have to do a 30-minute video about the Sasquatch out here, how amazing the stuff that we've witnessed and things that we've seen. But that's not why we're here today. So my friend James is kind of a jack of many trades. He's a builder. He's a journeyman for a living. And he did something absolutely amazing. So if you haven't seen it, I have a video where I talk about Jake, the famous Sasquatch that I filmed, my Video 5 Sasquatch, the dark male that I filmed. He went in his spare time and thought he would go and do the dimensions of Jake. And there it is. That's the close to dimensions of Jake, the Sasquatch, that I filmed. And I'll tell you, let me get a little closer. We've actually hung it approximately to the height that Jake was on the day that I filmed him. I had him measured out at about 8'6", and as you can see when I put my hand straight in the air, that's about the top of it. I know this because as Jake went away from me, I saw him clearly go under a huge tree branch, and his head just made it under it. And I remember when I approached that tree branch, I put my arm in the air, and I could just touch the top of it, and his head was approximately that high. I assume the time when I filmed Jake, he was approximately 16 years old. Last time I saw him, he was approximately 20 years old. So he'd gotten noticeably bigger. So probably, well, clearly more in he was 8'6" when I filmed him in 2010. Last time I saw him in approximately 2014, 2015, he was about 9'2". So first I want to talk to James about how he filmed or how he put this together. So tell us about your very cool piece of art, please.
Well, it actually started out, I was going to do a spider web for the back of my roll bar and wasn't feeling it. Couldn't see anything that I liked, so I thought, well, maybe I can do a Sasquatch. So I started out with a flat piece of metal and put some eyeballs on it, and it didn't look good either. So now I ended up with what you see there. So I just built it out of scrap metal I had kind of in stock kicking around, and I built it to the dimensions of the deduction Todd had with the pine needles, which being 1 inch on his video that he had. And so basically it's about 14 to 15 inches wide and about 19 inches tall, the head itself, which corresponds with the video that he made.
Yeah. So, and I'll tell you, so when I first saw this, so I knew that when I did the dimensions of Jake, I was absolutely certain beyond any reasonable doubt that I was being very conservative. I thought at least 10% conservative. And I'll tell you, after looking at it in real life, we'll take it down in a minute and put it right beside my head. I'm thinking, now that I'm here and I'm looking at it, I was at least, well, it was approximately 30% off. Too small. I was very conservative. I'm always conservative in my numbers with Sasquatch because it's so, like, you can't be conservative about the tracks. The tracks are the tracks. But, and here, look at side by side, right? So what I noticed in me, I tell you, when I first looked, did you see the look on my face, James, when I first saw that?
I did.
Like, man, I was just like blown away, totally blown away. I'll tell you some of the things that stuck out to me. The head is smaller, but the nose is right. The mouth is bigger, and the eyes, I don't believe, so I guess if you made the head 30% bigger, the eyes would spread enough to where they would be decently close to accurate. Because even in I've seen other people do workups on the Jake videos, and you can see that you can actually put 2 eyes in between the single eye. In this case, I don't think you could quite, maybe 1.5 eyes. That's really important because it throws the dimensions of human right out the window. Every human being, you can actually put an eye right in between their eyes. So if you take a photograph, that's a well-known fact. Artists know it, and police sketch artists know it. So the nose is accurate. Imagine the head about 30% bigger, smaller in the mouth, and then and I really want to go through these dimensions. Let's put it back up there, please, because this is going to blow you away. The actual size of Jake, like the size of his body. So even though his head is a little bit small, just a little bit, that is the height of him. So James is approximately my height. He's 6'1". This is James standing by So that's how big Jake was when he was only, I'd estimate him at being approximately 16 years old. So again, putting his arms straight up in the air to reach 8'6".
Turn the camera up a little bit.
Up like this.
A little more.
A little more.
Can't see it yet. More.
Okay, 1 second. I'll just, there we go. So, but what you really need to know, what should scare you, is I'll tell you. So, his trap came out like this, and then his shoulder came out like that. So, let's get James to stand beside him again. So his shoulder would have been out that far. That's how muscular these guys are. They're like almost gorilla-like. So you can see where James's shoulder is here. The Sasquatch's shoulder would be up literally like that. So I would have estimated Jake. So trap muscle, shoulder muscle. Yeah, gotta be very accurate. Right about there. So absolutely, like these guys are like, think of a gorilla and how thick and muscular they are. These guys are literally muscular like a gorilla. And the height, please keep standing there. The height of a 16-year-old Sasquatch. Let me get a nice shot of this. Oh, it's gonna be dark if I do that. The height of a 16-year-old, can you imagine? Like, so literally it's more than double James's shoulder width, right? And then he's going to grow, his height will, you know, top up. That's 8'6", you know, 6 more inches at least he grew. And the weight of him, how much do you weigh, James?
250.
250. So, you know, a man, like a big man is 300 pounds, a really big man, like 6'7", 300 pounds is enormous, right? And Jake would have been at this age, at 16 years old, I have him clocked at about 800 pounds and, you know, 8'6", a 16-inch track, which by the time he left again was a 17-inch track like his dad. So absolutely gigantic, enormous. And then you think about these guys have the ability to see extremely well at night. I'm telling you, I've heard Jake run through pitch black wilderness, full speed, boom, 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 fluidly, like without crashing. And you can't do that. You can't run through bush like that unless you're able to see. Just fluidly moving through the wilderness. I've seen his eyes light up the way they do. I don't really talk too much about that because I like to listen to eyewitness accountings. They give me the color and what they see of the eyes. I talk about with my expeditioners a lot. But the fact that their eyes are glowing and the agility of these guys. I mean, these guys are like, I have eyewitness accounting them moving as fast as the speed sheep move in North America. Faster than the speed sheep move. Possibly one of the fastest terrestrial beings in the world. That's how fast I have them authentically, potentially clocked as. And then the endurance of them running down elk, an endurance. Like the math isn't really working out. There's got to be either these guys are something extremely special in the ecology overall, or there's the potential that you're getting smaller Sasquatch that are more endurance, like a human being. The endurance guys that'll outrun you, those dudes are 5'6", and they'll kill you in the long distance. Survivor man's 5'10", he'll kill you in the endurance of things. And then you get the bigger men like Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, or some like Hulk Hogan, big guys who have terrible endurance, but could, you know, potentially even like sprinters do really, really fast over short distances. So that bandwidth of really good Sasquatch with really good endurance, really fast Sasquatch over short distances, or is it somewhere in the middle? And the only way we're going to find that out is by making this discovery move forward and happen. So anything else you wanted to say about it, James? So
just the fact that it's really puts it into perspective. I have seen a Sasquatch, but from a distance, so to really get an idea of the size, to do this little bit of metal art and to look at it and hold it by your head. I did that and took a picture earlier, and it's yeah, pretty unnerving. So you run into a guy like that in the bush, you're gonna think twice.
Absolutely, totally, like that. And that's what I'm trying to teach people is these guys show in the ecology twice as powerful as a gorilla, literally twice the size of a gorilla, and absolute minimally twice the power. I think more than that. But if you know about how powerful gorillas are and you've looked that up and studied that at all, you should be terrified of that fact. What was interesting to me about this that really blew my mind was Jeff Meldrum had them make a Sasquatch to scale for a television documentary he was involved in. And the first thing he saw when he saw the Sasquatch is he was very upset because it was clear to him that it was way too big. way too big, because Jeff Meldrum has never seen a great Sasquatch, had a good look at a Sasquatch. I took him out and showed him a Sasquatch, but I don't think he's really had the, and the Sasquatch that he saw was not large, 14-inch track, maybe 8 feet tall, 550 pounds, so a younger male. But the opposite is true with me, that has eyewitnessed a Sasquatch, and a man like Bob Gimlin, who's eyewitnessed a Sasquatch. When I look at this, I see that they're truly, definitively, significantly larger than my recreation was, which I knew I was being conservative. And then I talked to Bob Gimlin. I'll tell you, when he saw that footage, one of the most authentic things he ever said is something that I say and I feel precisely is, man, that Sasquatch looked so much bigger in real life, right? And that is something, when I shot video 3, video 2, that Sasquatch is absolutely enormous, like 9 feet tall. And you look at the video and he looks pretty big, but I'll tell you, he is freaking enormous. Jake even, he looks pretty big, I think. When you get that perspective, the pine needle leaves, you should watch that video. I have it up here on my YouTube channel. I'll put a link in the description below. But when you see him in real life, like when you actually have eyes on him, he's absolutely enormous. And that's why people, it tests your mettle when you see these guys. It's terrifying to see a Sasquatch. And that's what makes, like John Bitternagel talked about, how it makes it very traumatic for you. You want to go tell people, I just saw this great big, absolutely enormous giant primate, and you're shocked to the core because you know what you know, you saw what you saw, but you're shocked, and then people ridicule, people mock you, people, you know, there's discomfort and then rejection, and who do you even tell? Who do you tell? You can't call Fish and Wildlife. They hang up the phone and laugh at you. That's what they do to me, and I show up with videos and footage and eyewitnesses, and I take people out and show them, and they still don't take me seriously. So what's a layman supposed to do who didn't have a recording and just saw a Sasquatch? And the answer is probably just keep his mouth shut, because society chastises you and mocks you for it. And it's something that's very embarrassing. But if you have seen a Sasquatch and you have something to say, I would love to see it. I would love to hear it. So my email address is bigfootencounter@gmail.com, or go to my website, discoveringbigfoot.org. I'd love to hear about your encountering of a Sasquatch and hear your opinions about this metal work that we have. So thank you very much for tuning into my Sasquatch Sunday video. Excuse me. I'm live on Wednesdays, Big Talk Tuesdays on Tuesdays, obviously, and I got my Throwback Thursday videos on Thursdays. Thank you very much for tuning in. Take care, and I'll see you soon.